Is that Steve Jobs?
James has joined the room.
Hi guys, how's it going? How you doing? Everything all right?
Yeah. Hey.
Thought I'd make a grand entrance.
Sorry, I sent you the wrong link. I sent you the wrong link, James. Sorry, my mistake.
So weird being in a room, an empty room in the internet. It was really freaky. I was like,
where is everyone?
What is? Are you...
Oh, you're breaking up, James.
Sorry, he's gone. He's gone.
This is annoying.
You love the internet for things like this.
Yeah, it's got so much promise, but then there's like it doesn't quite work. But it's not as good as being in a room for real. But you know,
he's left. He's left the room. He's joined the room.
He's joined the room.
Now he's James Bond.
James Bradley. Are you going to Cannes this year?
It's finance.
Oh, bloody hell. What's going on?
I'm costing up whether or not I'm going to go to Galway instead. Because the same influential people that I need to meet are at Galway, and there's a lot less people there.
Is this for your next?
So the feature. I kind of like to be, I kind of like to be going to Cannes and pitching the projects I have and having that as a deadline. But it's actually, if I don't have everything ready to go, it's a bit of an expense that isn't as useful as kind of know a lot of the people now. I don't know if me turning up in Cannes looking nice, walking around is really gonna give me any money. I'll just be like, where's your scripts? If I've not written the scripts.
It's nice to go eat pizza and drink wine.
Yeah, no, it is. I've just got to be really careful about what my focus is this year because
time gets split, doesn't it?
There's habits as well. There's things that I habitually do that I think are progressing for my career, and I'm actually looking at them all and going, okay, just really examine what's going to get you where you want to go this year, rather than just repeatedly doing the same things.
Yeah, exactly. This is a big thing that. Oh, there he is.
Ashton Kutcher.
Steve Jobs, Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Oh, you've frozen again. Oh, what's wrong with James's internet? Anyway, we'll just talk, and then James can drop in and out.
He can drop in. Yeah.
So what's the patterns that you've noticed that like stop you?
Patterns that stop. I think when I got a mentor about 4 years ago, was a guy called Frank Rodham, and he directed Quadrophenia, and he had this empire built on it's a really amazing cooking show, MasterChef.
Oh yeah.
So he's the inventor and the millionaire behind MasterChef. So entrepreneur and filmmaker, and he kind of said to me, "It's like I just think that you are following a trajectory that you believe is going to get you to your feature film by making friends with, Film 4, BBC, BFI, Creative England." And he said, that's the route that we all think is going to get us there. And his advice to me was, you need to take a massive leap. That's nothing to do with the steps of what we believe is the right way to get a film made.
Yeah. That's really interesting because it's a big learning curve for us as well, really. It's like what everybody thinks is the right thing to do isn't at all the right thing to do, and it's kind of like a myth. It's like a collective myth. It's like everybody hears about the famous like rags to riches stories of a director that's never directed anything. Like I mean, like Gareth Edwards, who suddenly goes from 0 to 100 in a second, but it doesn't exist like that. It does on some level, but because people latch onto those stories and repeat them, people think that that's the way to go, but it's not. Really.
Ben Wheatley, what did he make Down Terrace for supposedly £5,000? Yeah. But then the idea is that those films, that his films would never have been commissioned through a funding body. But because he made a lot of money. And I think actually the only thing that this business responds to is profit.
Is cash, unfortunately.
Yeah. Whereas if you do want to make an art house film, then the BFI are really happy to support an auteur.
Yeah. And then there's the funds. the funds exist because of like the social the social worth and to support different filmmakers in different areas, but they're kind of like the isolated incidents, right? They're the
This is the interesting thing. I was in Leeds and in Manchester for 20 odd years, and I never got any of the funding. I got one pot of funding to make a short, £2,000, my first ever short film. And
was that Creative England?
It was before Creative England. It was
really?
Media. Yeah, really showing my age here. That was when the UK Film Council existed. And then it kind of dissolved, and I thought, gosh, what am I going to do? I've got 3 years before the BFI took over and Creative England kind of came into existence. Yeah. And that's when I started looking at competitions. So I got a film made through Nokia by pitching to them. Yeah. And I found Enter the Pitch. I went back to Merge University and found a competition to fund money for them for alumni. But when I'm thinking about feature films, I've never really been funded by Creative England, Film London, or the BFI for anything. So there's no way I find myself going to those doors looking for, 300,000 for a feature.
Yeah, exactly. No way.
They don't know me.
Yeah. So
I moved from the north, so I was a bit silly. I moved down to London thinking that I could get more opportunity here, which is great. But then there's actually more money if I'd stayed regional. I could have potentially got more money that way. Yeah.
So what's the feature idea? What's the next step?
Feature. Well, I'd like to say there's one, but I've got two bubbling away at the moment. One is a sci-fi thriller, which I've been working with a producer in Sheffield called Jude Goldry, and the feature's called Tipping Point, and it's about a 50-year-old scientist who's in the northern regions, and she's found a connection between northern lights and cognitive function. And then she has a younger scientist who turns up, who's kind of a little bit disruptive to her process, and it's about their kind of mentor-mentee relationship.
And then is that off the back of Pulsar? Then, is that where you want to go into sci-fi?
I really like sci-fi. I really enjoyed making science fiction. I love drama too. I mean, I don't see any reason why they have to be separate.
No, absolutely. No,
I mean, they need to be together, don't they? They need to be together because that's what creates good sci-fi. It's dramatic sci-fi. you know?
The mysterious man, the mysterious black silhouette is talking.
I know.
Yeah, sorry.
It's probably better to keep the video off if we're having troubles.
I kept going through all the definition settings and nothing was working. So I don't know why it's been annoying, but it is. My upload and download speed seems to be working, but there we go. No problem. Doesn't matter. I mean, I can hear everything.
We're talking now. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
What was it like making a sci-fi? Thanks for Pulsar, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. Total albatross, to be honest. That's really difficult because the idea of what you think you're going to do, there's so many things to say about making a film like that. One is my expectation was far greater than what I could ever have made on that budget. So I was always in defeat because the ambition was so much bigger than I could have ever made. So
because of CGI or because
to be honest, for me, the things that I found hardest was what we could physically make, like the sets, what was hard, what was there. And I didn't have control over that because I'm not the producer. So I had grand ambitions of how I wanted everything to look. And that wasn't delivered in the way that I was expecting it to be. So that was tough because it didn't look from the outset at all like the film that I was thinking it would. Yeah. So I had to constantly keep readjusting what this film is going to be based on that. Learning about how hard it is to do post-production on a sci-fi with really very little money. That was a learning experience. It hasn't put me off, which I think is a bit crazy. It should have been. But I didn't go through all that not to learn something that's useful.
Did Pinewood Post do it, or did they just help you out? How did that work?
So Pinewood's involvement are really with the pitch in terms of housing them when they do all of their competition stuff. They're not really involved with the post-production.
I thought Pinewood Post helped you for some reason.
No, the post-production companies were Halo and On-Site. and neither of them did the special effects. They just did the grade and the sound design. So Halo did sound design and Onsite did finishing and grade. And I guess the visual effects thing, this is where it's really tricky. What you would normally do is you would budget and look at your whole production, and you would get different houses to pitch on elements of your story. And they would do, I don't know, all of the rotoscoping, or they do all of the flame or the exterior ship, or all of the computer heads-up displays. Whereas what I did is I went to a very, very experienced visual effects supervisor called Paddy Eason, who's got like a 50 credit list on IMDb. And he advised me to find somebody who was a top compositor who wanted to take a step into VFX supervising. And that's why I found Abigail Scoley. And she was working at Method and working on like Fantastic Beasts and Wonder Woman. She was really busy, but she wanted that step up. And she said, I've got the contacts to utilize here to send out separate jobs to separate people.
Okay, that's interesting.
Rather than do it in-house.
Yeah. Wow. So this is...
Yeah.
So, because we might, if these conversations, if they're useful and interesting, we might release them on the platform for the members. So I'm sure, as well as, oh, hang on a minute, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've all gone blind.
Everything's gone blind. Oh, my camera's been turned off. There we go. Let me turn it back on. Yours probably gone. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, weird.
Weird.
Ghost in the machine.
So there's lots of stuff. There's lots of stuff we've just talked about that lots of people would be it would be completely over their heads. So can we slow down just a little bit and go back to the beginning of like
well, what do you want to know?
So what's the process? What do you have to think of as a director on set? What's the process? How does your working process change when you're working on something that's going to have so much CGI aspects added to it later on in post? How does your working process change?
Well, yeah, okay. So making Pulsar was a learning experience because everything I've made up to this point was pretty much a drama, or it was a thriller, or it didn't have any of those visual effects elements, and it was quite daunting to know that I'd pitched and won a project that I was going to have to do that had exterior CGI shots, had interactive visual effects and green screen. So there was every possible element of visual effects in this apart from a robot.
You should have put a robot in it as well.
I think the first thing I had to come to face with was what objects inside of the space would actors be interacting with, and how was I going to block scenes where I would know that there'd either be a green screen or there'd be something put in afterwards. And so that's when I started doing rehearsals with the actors. Well, actually, this is before I cast. I did rehearsals with people who were friends of mine as actors, where I mapped out the actual space of the set we were going to have with the production designer and the cinematographer. And we started to talk about where we could place things in the room that would be like the interactive central hub computer. Every time an actor would pass that, you know, you're adding thousands of pounds of expense because you have to rotoscope around them. Because if it's not a green screen, then it's expensive.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also that would also limit actors' performance on set. So this was something we really looked at, was where we're going to place things and how much is that going to lock down behavior for our actors. So that was number one. Secondly was how to get interesting reactions on a green screen, talking to cinematographers who'd worked like that before, and what tricks and things we could do to keep that atmosphere on set really lively. What else did we have to do? Oh, just talking a lot to visual effects supervisors about what it was like, what things you'd have to incorporate, how many times you'd have to shoot a clean plate, or what would need to be in backdrop. Things like that, things I hadn't considered. I was very lucky that, there's a siren on the way.
That's okay.
I was very lucky that there was a course in Ireland called VFX Script to Screen that took me on for, I think, a week in June and then a week in August. And I got to speak to people who were working on Game of Thrones and Melancholia from the beginning of when you write a script all the way up to when you're in post-production, on what you have to think about for VFX, which is more time than we've got now, I think. But 100%. I gave my unfinished script to a VFX supervisor, and I asked them to tell me, not as like a line producer, not to cost it, but to flag to me everything they would be looking at and saying, this is an effect.
Too expensive. Yeah.
Well, not money, but what do I
okay.
have to think about? What are they thinking about as their job that I've not thought about because it's not my job and I wouldn't be able to consider it? And how many things have I written that they would be predominantly imagining would be a VFX shot, or I hadn't believed I could do that. I don't know the limitations yet. And they could say, well, actually, that's really easy. What you've written there, we can do that like this. But this thing here that you've not considered is hard.
Like them walking in front of a central hub.
Yeah. The rotoscoping.
Yeah. It's fascinating because as a skill set, I guess, I mean, coming back to what you were saying at the beginning, your mentor who suggested that you have an idea about what's going to bring you where you want to be, but actually the reality might be quite different. As a skill set, I imagine like you've just armed yourself with a super valuable weapon. Being like, do you know what I mean? Though, being able to direct a short, but to this high standard,
100%,
and it really is a high standard of like very technical things. And as you said, you brought in the I mean, I don't even know the technical phrases. The three different things: the green screen, the exterior CGI, and what was the other one?
So you've got exterior CGI, you've got rotoscoping, everything.
Rotoscoping.
Green screen. And then you'd also have, so you've got visual effects and SFX. We had things blowing up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which was, and we actually drowned a Hollywood actor for a little bit in a kind of congealed like slime substance, which is terrifying. That was the last shot on the last day, and he was going to be submerged in liquid. And I just thought to myself, oh, this can't go wrong. He's like really famous. It'll be the worst end of a career, beginning and end.
So what's next, Aurora? What are you looking at doing next?
The ideal thing to do next would be to direct some television that's in a similar vein. So that would be, I don't know, supernatural, thriller, science fiction based drama television of high budget level.
Something like Doctor Who, maybe?
I'd love to do some Doctor Who, but I don't know if the BBC will take you at that level on a high end show if you haven't done something with them a little bit lower down. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think you've got a very good calling card.
Yeah. Well, you hope so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, it's only like maybe 2 or 3 people that have to decide whether or not you come in and pitch for a script, and those 2 or 3 people just need to see your work, need to know that it's you, need to meet you, and I guess it's just trying to figure out who those people are and making sure that they actually get to see that you are a seasoned filmmaker. You have made a shed load of shorts, and you are definitely tapped into the science fiction workflow. So that's the SFX and FX workflow, VFX workflow and stuff. So
but also beyond that, you've got a really good, because like going from something like Murmur, and what was the name of the other one that we screened?
Oh, Life on the Line.
Life on the Line, yeah. Going from the progression of like the drama and your acting background and your ability to handle like strong narrative and truth as well, believable performances and all of that, and then mixed with, I think it's a very clever move to make Pulsar, because it kind of it's an incredibly powerful skill set, right? I think, anyway.
Definitely.
I had a talk with one of my producers who's doing Tipping Point with me, and I think one of the things people find really difficult is, I'm not saying there's a narrow-mindedness, but we like to know what everybody is. As an actor, people like to know your brand quite quickly, and they do that kind of work. And so although making Pulsar has been really good and strong, I think when people look at it against other pieces of work, they go, well, I don't know what to do with her because this is completely different. And we like to think of it as a skill set. We go, oh, look how much range you have. But one of the things you understand as an actor is people don't like you to come on and show 10 accents and show your range.
No,
they really just want to solve a problem in the moment. So I think what Pulsar will do is hopefully maybe it's the right time for female directors doing sci-fi to get on. And I hope that's true. But I also have 10 years of good, solid drama.
Good, solid drama, exactly.
That might open a door that I'm not expecting at another time.
Yeah, but maybe the good solid drama will inform like your next sci-fi, and if it's a feature sci-fi, and then that suddenly Disney are ringing you up to direct Star Wars, and we'll be saying like, oh yeah, Aurora, you know, she's our mate.
That'd be all right.
Aurora, do you have any agents at the moment at all?
So
do you have an agent?
I have a directing and writing agent, which is Berlin Associates.
Yes,
and that's
I remember.
Julia Wyatt. I had an acting agent who I left last year. He kept asking me to direct him, and kept asking him. Yeah, he's also an actor.
Okay.
Oh wow. Wow.
So I found that a slight conflict of interest anyway.
Yeah.
And then he was asking me to do things that kind of stepped into my other agency's line, and I just said, you know what, this is a bit blurry for me. So I've left him.
Okay. Have you heard of United Agents? You obviously know United Agents, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a director that works for United Agents called Wayne Yip. I say he works there. He's represented by United Agents, and he's not done much, but he has done Doctor Who. And
he did it at Christmas.
He did Resolute, or whatever it's called. Yeah. So his agent is Camille McCurry. Camille McCurry, and his assistant is Nick Hitchcock. So Camille McCurry's assistant is Nick Hitchcock. I don't see why you can't try and get an appointment to speak to both of those people. If not Camille, but then maybe Nick, and just say like, you know, we know that you've got the connection with Doctor Who because of Wayne, and I'd be very, very interested to show you what I can do.
Yeah.
I know that it's a difficult one because having been an actor myself and you being an actor as well, the whole approaching agent thing seems a little bit like a mission impossible. But you never really know with something that's so highly produced like Pulsar, with the amount of work that you've got in your back burner. There is a potential here that you could maybe get a meeting with them, with the look to get a meeting to do directing on Doctor Who, maybe. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
Well, I know that. Well, the interesting thing is Julia, who's my current agent, she worked at the BBC for 7 years, script development consultancy. Yep. She's probably better placed to get me a job at the BBC than most people. She's kind of already reached out. So she put me forward for directing the new series of Humans when it happened over in China. They bought it and sold it over to, I think, Singapore. And everybody keeps telling me, so I've got Bankside come to me, Moonacre come to me, Focus Features, they've all seen it. They love it. But they're
all seen Pulsar, sorry.
Yeah, they've all came to the screening that I did last year, and they've met for coffee, and everyone's very excited about it. They like it. But they can't put me on their TV shows because I've got nothing in between. And the thing about sci-fi at that level is a sci-fi TV show. It's so expensive. It's such a risk for them. And it's not that my agent isn't doing the work. It's just I have no stepping stone. So my co-director, pal and business partner Jamie, he got an Oscar nominated for a short he did 4 or 5 years ago called Shock, and he signed to Casaroto, I think, and he just turned down Doctors and Holby and all of that for ages, and eventually managed to get his first gig was The Last Kingdom, and he said it was a real fluke. So he got that job, but he nailed out 2 great episodes, and now he's doing Netflix shows. So he's doing The Innocents and Endeavour, and he's working at a really high level. But he said what's really difficult is even with an Oscar nomination, you're walking into these rooms, into these meetings. Actually, the Oscar nomination gets into the rooms for meetings. For me, they see the work and they go, great, well, let's just see what happens next. because it's not enough. It's not enough for them to put you on a 60-minute episode of telly, unfortunately. So I've got to just keep plowing away at developing a feature off the back of Pulsar and hoping that I can get some drama on TV, because nobody is willing to take that risk. I've had the meeting. I'm just not getting called in to pitch. And I'm not sure if it is the agent. I'm not sure if it's just a risk.
How much work are you getting put up for? Has your agent told you how much sort of stuff you're being sent in for? Are you getting sent treatments to create packages for different people? No. Yeah. Well, you should be.
Yeah, I kind of. Well, that's a hard one, isn't it? It's like, well, this is the question actors come to, which is, oh, I should be getting in the room, which is the same for acting as directing. And you go, is it the package? Is it you, or is it the agent? And it's really hard to, you kind of always work backwards and go, well, it's easy to say it's the agent, but what if it's not? What if it's something else?
I think, go on, Ben, carry on.
I think like you're not in control of stuff you're not in control of, like you're not in control of. So what are you in control of? You're in control of making your next thing. Yeah. So that's got to be the focus, surely.
Well, that's what I'm doing, is I'm just writing the future. But at the same time, I'm just running out of money. I can't just live off. I mean, I've put 4 years of my own money into making that film, and it doesn't pay back. So
of course.
And I made 3 more shorts in the same time that one was being in post, which is again more a drain of money. And so I look at it and I go, I can't make another short. I really, really just want to direct some TV. I don't care what it is now. I just need to be directing for money.
I'm getting paid for it. Yeah.
I'm getting paid to do my job, and therefore I can get the features out there. But I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm going to put Pulsar on Amazon, I think, in the next couple of months. And then just do a big push out to all the main production companies that I like, and just ask for generals and get a new showreel cut. And that was my next 3-month plan. And if at the end, by the time I get to the summer, if I'm not getting called in for generals, if I'm not getting anywhere, and I've done that myself, which is kind of like when you're an actor and you get new headshots and a new showreel and you're still not getting in the room, you go, hey, you know what, there's nothing more I can do here. This means that the gatekeepers are not listening to my agent. So I'm kind of working backwards, and I go, right, well, what can I do? What big push can I do? And if I do all that work and by the summer I'm just not getting in, then maybe it is time to look for someone else.
Change is good.
What do you think, guys?
It's so hard.
Go for it, Ben. You go for it.
I feel your pain. I think from what I've seen, the first thing is to get paid, and as you saying, you're struggling getting TV, but perhaps you can get paid through your producing your first feature if you can find the right people to work with, the right idea, the right script, the right thing. Because I mean, how much do you need for your ideas at the moment?
I'm trying to do something under $1 million.
But even that's hard.
I mean, I'm laughing as I say it, because my friends have all made films at 400 or 800, and I'm there going, well, I've got to try and keep it under $1 million. But one is a psychological horror set in the 1800s, and the other is a sci-fi feature. But I mean, it's a thriller as well, and it's either going to be at the cheapest in Scotland, at an ideal in Norway. I mean, we've got a potential Finnish co-producer could come on board and help with that. But the thing is, I look at it and I go, well, even if I get the ideal script written and it's signed off by the summer, I'm not going to get paid for this project this year. If everything goes well, it's not going to shoot this year, so I won't be getting any principal photography for it. So I do need to find a way to live while I'm still developing, which is why I'm teaching, and why I'm writing. I'm writing for radio at the moment as well now, which is good. So I'm writing Doctor Who for the radio.
Are you really? Hey, oh, there you go. That's a win. Lots of people would love that job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't identify predominantly as a writer. I think I'm a director, an actor, and then writer in that order. But it's a bit weird that job's come my way, because if I can make some money writing, then I'll take it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
You're like, no, excuse me, no, I'm a director.
Yeah.
I think Aurora, that with regards to you wanting to work in TV, I feel that you should be at least setting yourself a target to have one meeting with a production company and one meeting with an agent per week, just to see what's out there and what people think, because everyone's going to be trying to sell you the dream, but there's if my agent, if I have a director, if I have an agent that covers directors, if there are no directors on their books that I want to basically replicate the kind of work that they're doing, even just a prolific amount of treatments that are getting sent or whatever it is, I would be looking to move immediately, and I would be trying to basically get as many meetings as I possibly could a week, open-handed meetings as well, just basically saying, look, this is my situation, this is the work that I've produced, I know I'm good enough, and I just want to know what you would think of someone like me coming onto your books, and what you would do for someone like me. And I think that there's I just believe that the opportunity is there if you just keep hammering at it. And I think that there's a lot to be told with working in that sort of way, because you suddenly start developing your own luck, and things start happening, and they always start for some weird you're always, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I mean, I know I definitely have, and I know other creators have, I know Ben has, but when you're working on something and then all of a sudden something just comes out of nowhere and you're like, whoa. And you just get the feeling that had you not been doing that other thing, then that other thing would never have presented itself. It's a really strange thing. But I do believe that if you're not getting treatment sent to you by your agent at least once a month, then you should be having meetings with agents at least once a week to replace them. You've got to see this as a business, as a you've got to see yourself as a projectile, and you've got to fill yourself with the fuel to just keep moving. And you cannot take the situation that you're in right now as acceptable. You can't. It's not acceptable. You're a capable director. You're a capable director. You've got SFX experience. You've won a pitch at Vinewood. You will win pitches elsewhere. So you have to be pitching all the time. Yeah. Just be less agreeable about it and just get on with making it happen, because you've got so much talent, and you really should be somewhere else doing the work that you want to be doing, and not taking no for an answer. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Well, no, I feel that. I had the same conversation with my mum yesterday. I was like, I feel like I'm living a parallel life. I should be working by now. Just don't understand why it happened. Yeah,
you absolutely flipping should be. And there's no reason why you can't be going out there and having meetings each week with different production companies, seeing what happens. Even if it's commercial work. Yeah. Pulsar looks so commercial. You know, you could turn Pulsar into an advert at any second. Literally every single scene looked so polished. It was perfect for any sort of commercial work. So there's no reason why you can't get yourself a commercials agent, get yourself an agent, get yourself a writer's agent as well within that scope and stuff, and just keep pushing it, and set your targets, set your targets daily, even set them by the hour, and just relentlessly innovating your position within the marketplace, just non-stop, until you get to where you want to get to. And I guarantee within 3 months you'll be away. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Thank you, Steve Jobs. I feel very inspired.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
I mean, I get the impression that you know all of this. Like of course you do. You live it and you breathe it. But you're so talented. That's the nice. Number one key. You are, like, it's not even me being nice. It's just the truth of the situation. And I mean, whenever we hit like these creative blocks and these walls, it's just it's nice to be reminded of that, because like that's like you have so much to bring to whatever you want to do, like 100%. Because I'm echoing what James is saying, like just find a way to make it work, like
Well, I'll add that. I'll add that idea about meeting people weekly to my.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll add that to my getting the show well cut and getting the film out there. Yeah, it's a good post.
Yeah, even if it's just a producer for a coffee, or like even if it's just like gonna go and meet an agent's assistant just to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the approach should always be. You're a female director, you're fucking good, and you want to meet people because you believe that you've got something to give, and you can show them your work, and they can be like, I mean, they're not going to be, when you show them Pulsar, they're going to be like,
holy shit.
Right, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you say, I won the Pinewood pitch. I got 30 grand to make this. This was the concept that we came up with. I learned all of this about SFX. I am ready to go. I write, I direct, I understand the actor's process. I used to be an actor. I am an actor. Like all these different things all feed into each other.
Yeah.
And also as well, the number one thing that you've got over most people, you're nice. You're likable.
It's a double-edged sword. We already said that. Nice and agreeable. Maybe too agreeable.
Not agreeable. Not agreeable. When I say agreeable, I mean you're kind of accepting you're accepting one particular station in your life at the moment as being the norm, and you should not be accepting that whatsoever. That's because it's not the norm for you. If you were to write down all of your attributes and to take away Aurora Fearnley as the person that had those attributes, and were to present that to yourself and say, where should this person be? You will say exactly where you feel you should be. So you've got to make sure that you fit that paradigm of what you've created for yourself, because or else you're just treading water. And of course you should be working on your own stuff. You should be generating your own work. That's absolutely crucial. It's crucial to do it because that'll enable you to build a brand and build an identity that people can identify you with. But when it comes to getting work and getting paid work to be a director, you have to be stopping at nothing to make that happen, because it takes a hell of a lot of commitment to get over that initial hill. But once you're over it and you're in and you're getting treatment sent to you, you know, you would have forgotten all of this. You know.
I hear that. It does feel like treading water. You're right.
Yeah.
But also, don't forget like the successes
of course.
that you have already, and the things that you've already achieved. And there's no point in dwelling on those things, but there's also no point in beating yourself up and saying it should be different. Like it can be different, but you are where you are, and but you've done what you've done, and you've done a hell of a lot, and you're writing Doctor Who for the radio. Like you're doing things. So don't forget that.
I agree. Yeah, I don't lose track of what I've done. I think it's just that idea of when I made Pulsar, I thought it would open doors a lot faster than it has, and it has surprised me that there's a level of expectation with it that I've kind of let go of, because it didn't go the way I wanted it to, and it took a lot longer to get finished than I thought it would. So I think that maybe letting go of expectations has been really useful, because now I don't have an idea. I'm not sad that I'm not where I want to be, or thought that something would happen that hasn't. But it's kind of left me a little bit thinking that I have to think in a different way about where I want to go next with it. Because if it's not going to do what I thought it was going to do, then what can it do? And I guess that's where I'm at now. What have I not been? Because if you're very focused on a certain path, I think you can lose track of all the opportunities that are outside of that.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So that's kind of been my journey with this film, which is okay. Now let's see what it's proposing. But I totally agree that it's, you know, taking a lot more meetings. I've been doing that, but not as voraciously as once a week, probably once a month.
Well, they say a week in work is a long week. What do they say? I think it's a week in football is a long week. But yeah, it's. I mean, you could get. Just imagine if you had a meeting a week for like 4 weeks, just what could potentially be there. And the weird thing is that meetings always become meetings, become introductions. You get to meet people, different things like that. I think I went when I was a budding actor at drama school in the 3rd year. I went and had a meeting with Rebecca Lenkovich because she knew someone that knew somebody in Plymouth, where I'm from. I had a meeting with an actor that played a part in the Royal Shakespeare Company and then tried to take me on a date, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not gay. And he was like, oh, never mind. But that was all a little bit weird. I went out and met all these people. I met all the wrong people. I met writers that couldn't get me a job, and I met actors that wanted to have sex with me. So it was all kind of a bit weird. But there was like but for whatever reason during that time, my pre-jaded enthusiasm was just out meeting people all the time, and it was really doing me a world of good. But I then got an agent, and then I got a little bit lazy, and I had to make ends meet. So I was going out and getting work, and I was doing different things, and I was like, I quite like my downtime when I'm not auditioning and I'm not working. I quite like sitting on my bum doing absolutely nothing. And I'm not suggesting that you do that at all, but it's just that pre-jaded enthusiasm is something that we need to really, really hold on to as creatives and never let go, because that's what gets us out there meeting people. That's what takes us to Cannes. That's what takes us to all these different places to open doors and push buttons and make things happen for ourselves. And again, I reiterate what I just said just now. Like, when you are doing stuff, you get stuff from somewhere else. Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, basically my 10 pence.
I hear that. Yeah, 100%.
I agree. We're here for you. Like, if you ever want to chat about anything, like we're here. Whether we can help, or whether we're just like an ear for just to throw ideas out there. Like, however we can be of assistance, we're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you guys are great. That's really kind.
Oh, no sweat. So what's your next steps, Aurora? What are you going to be doing now?
So I'm hiring a really shit hot editor to do a new showreel, which is the #1 thing. Because if I'm going to start publicizing my stuff, I really want it to not be cut by me. Even though I'm an editor, I just want someone else to do it.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand that.
Yeah, 100%.
And then Pulsar's going to go on Amazon and just send it out to everybody with the showreel and just say, right, here I am. I'm ready to meet. Let's meet up. That's the directing side of things. In terms of creation, I've got Tipping Point, which is the sci-fi thriller, which is I've been paid to do the treatment for it, but that was about a year ago. So we're still going backwards and forwards on the treatment. And I started a new project this January, which is a kind of psychological horror, which I'm just going to put forward to the BFI for some development money and see which producer I want to work with on it when I've got the treatments that I like. But that's my plan.
Right. Amazing.
I need to get paid, plan.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you definitely do. Just I reckon stick to that and get yourself as many meetings as possible, and just don't take no for an answer. Just keep relentlessly pushing. Maybe have you got an iPad? Have you got an iPad at all?
No, I don't. So I need one.
Or like a tablet. Because your showreel needs to be on that, and you need to be able to just whip that out your pocket at any given opportunity and just say, "Ping! Oh, this is Pulsar." Just because we're chatting about it, here it is, without making it super duper formal. So you're not like in a really super duper formal setting. You're like, here's my laptop, and you like have to move everyone's glasses out the way. And you've got to move it. You're like, here it all is. And here's Pulsar. You have to, hang on a minute. I've just got to find it on my computer. None of that crap. You just literally pull out your iPad, and your iPad's ready to go with your show reel, and you just go bang, there you go. And then people are like, ooh, okay. I was impressed with her already, but now I'm really impressed.
Bit more sales. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's showing your value, right? Like if somebody sees Pulsar, it's a hell of a lot more. It's a hell of a lot different than you saying, "Oh, by the way, I've directed a short sci-fi." In the person's mind, that might conjure up, "Oh God, all right, here we go," and yikes, I wonder what that's like. And then if you actually see it, then they're like, "Oh, okay, right."
I guarantee it, Aurora. Without showing them Pulsar, they'll be thinking to themselves that it's a bunch of people stood around in cardboard boxes. Hello.
That's true. Whenever I was showing someone the trailer for it, they always go, "Oh, right, okay, right. Well, that looks good." I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
That's the response you want.
Definitely. Even though it can be a little bit insulting sometimes. It's kind of like what happens when like members of my family come to the season awards and they go, "Whoa, I didn't know your company was doing this well." I'm like, what? Hang on a minute. I told you that it was doing really well. And they're like, yeah, but like you know,
10 years of our life and effort, and the family's still like, "Oh, you still do that thing, do you?" All right. Okay.
Oh God, you have your best mates ring you up 10 minutes beforehand and say, "It's sold out. I didn't realize it was going to sell out." And you're like, "It always sells out. I told you this." That's me being negative.
Anyway.
No, but I mean, it's hard for them to quantify it unless they see you win an award and then they go, "Oh, right, that's success," because people outside of arts don't understand the different values of success. You know.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
Just staying in it and enjoying it is a big part of it being successful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, 100%.
It really is. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you guys have done amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for the pep talk. I think that's really useful. Thank you.
Right,
let's have another one in a couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Would love to.
Cool. Yeah, and the shadowy figure there that's giving me advice. Like a subconscious voice I'm going to be hearing now. It's brilliant. Thank you.
I'm like the smoker guy from X-Files. Remember that dude?
You really are.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Smoky man.
Cool. All right.
Brilliant. All right.
Take care. We're all the very best.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems.
No worries.
Speak to you later.
Cool.
Bye. Bye.
See you later. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.